excellent session so far. Like Mr. Ramaskanda sir said, my respect to late CMA B.R. Prabhakara sir. And he was very close to us, and he was my guru as well. And whenever I talked to him, we used to interact on Sanskrit, because any session that we talk about, he will not start without talking something about Sanskrit. So I hope the great soul will rest in peace, and the family members, including CMA family members, will have strength to withstand and bear the loss. With that, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, it is my pleasure and privilege to be standing in front of you, talking about the CMA audit and ESG. My focus will be mainly on ESG, because you have got speakers already covered on the cost audit aspect. In my view, ESG will be a new area, a continuation of the CMA profession. Like we said, manufacturing to logistics, which basically made the business from 1 to 4 times. ESG has a potential to make it happen. And I really thank you, the Institute, SIRC, as well as Bengaluru chapter, for giving me this opportunity. Let me try to take approximately 20 minutes and try to close my talk on this subject. So when I talk about, again, the signing today is basically my view, not necessarily of my company. This exactly I'm going to cover in next week. A lot of huge potential over here. And ESG takes the holistic view, because when we talk about a financial view is one angle. We also have to look at sustainability view. Combination of this is basically something that we can really manage well. And though, we talked about Trump basically does not care about some of these that we talked in the morning, please note whether anybody are able, when we're talking about ESG, there is no option, because looking at the future generation, ESG becomes mandatory. So with that being in the mind, let us talk about what are the factors, key performance indicators is basically ESG basically is looking for. What we track as the ESG. One is carbon footprint. We talked about something which how much carbon footprint we are creating. 2047, 100 year of India, we committed that we should become carbon neutral as India. And there are many countries who have agreed for the same agreement, which is Paris Agreement. Whether you like it or not, that becomes the mandate. The second thing is about energy consumption. How are we able to use the energy? How do we use renewable energy and ensure that we do not consume too much energy? And again, for AI machine to run, there are a lot of electrical energy being used. How do you manage AI along with energy consumption? That's an area. Then we talk about waste management. Morning when I was looking at some of the chart, I think Sripada sir basically mentioned, please do not waste a lot of things, specifically throw a lot of things. Exactly, it's very apt, because we have to create our future generation. We have to work for them. Minimizing the waste will also minimize the cost. Managing the waste is very, very important. Also talking about biodiversity. How do we save this earth? How do we have, the earth is basically there for the future generation. Also one of the important parameters to be measured, not only by us, but also by all corporate across, to ensure that we are able to achieve sustainability goals, which is on ESG. That is one dimension. Other dimension is society or social. Employee satisfaction and turnover rates, employee turnover. We're talking about diversity and inclusion. We're talking about health and safety measures and community engagements. Now, when COVID-19 happened, we had a mechanism to get a system which basically talks about each and every employee, what are the things one should do in terms of safety and measures, etc. It used to give directions, etc. That is something which was built using AI as a technology then. Governance, basically board composition including diversity. Diversity means it need not be only male and female, it could be people from different sectors to be part of the governance. Compliance and ethics, we know, risk management and sustainable supply chain management are the 12 different key aspects which need to be complied with all corporates. Now let us see how AI, and before we go to AI, let us talk about what is AI. And most of us know what AI is all about. It replaces the repetitive task done by human being by machines. So which means to say it basically automates repetitive tasks, looks at patterns, and gives a lot of output. Only one disadvantage here is it does based on what we provide in. And again, there are a lot of challenges like ethical consideration. The data that we provide also makes a huge difference, and that is something which we need to really watch for. So only thing, then what happens is, talk about AI, it also has got 3 layers, which is called machine learning, which is the engine behind. We also talk about deep learning, which enables nothing but our generative AI. Okay? So this is basically general thing when Harshad was talking about how do we really get information. Some of these happens in the background. Now let us get into the corporate. Okay, before getting the corporate, we talk all of these are based on data. Some of the classical AI we talked about is used on data which is accessible by using database. Like you got the data about your inventory, data about your financial. What it cannot read is something called unstructured data. Unstructured data is, let us say we have, Skanda sir talked about the artificial intelligence being used by Bengaluru traffic. How do they do is, if there's a mechanism only that we read data in the Excel, would not have been possible. What it does is, it reads information from the social, it also reads information from the images from the camera, which is called unstructured information, and using those information, it collates the information together based on the pattern. The AI engine using LLM basically does an analysis and provides a report. It is as simple as that, but it's as complex as the data that we look at. So in order to manage this data, what we do is we capture as an input, we basically process using the patterns, and finally provide information in terms of question and answering. Again, prompt engineering is one of the topics that we talked about. How do you put a question? How exactly we get sentiment analysis? For example, in this room, we talk about how many people are there, what exactly is happening. Some of sentiments based on whatever feedback you provide can be done. Extracting the information, image captioning, like what we said is how do we really caption the images, object recognition, instruction flowing, or the models that basically works as generative AI. Now look at the corporate. Now corporate, how does it really work is, we talked about the data which is coming from, let us say, Oracle Fusion application. It could be SAP, it could be whatever. So we have got these like ERP, EPM, like let us say SCM, supply chain management, it could be IoT or many other information systems where we capture the data, including IoT. IoT normally does is it can capture the information, for example, in a manufacturing company, just by sensing. It is not necessary that you have to basically put the data in. It basically sends the data and provides the data. On top of these ERP, we have got something called agents. So when we talk about all the things that happens in the background, we put something called agents, and these agents uses something called embedded system within the application. For example, if you are using Oracle Fusion, the agents are embedded into the system. You don't have to invest more there. And when it is embedded, it does some normal functions. Oracle as of now has got 100+ agents in different areas. Now, these agents are basically embedded. Also, it basically gives an opportunity to customize using the extensible AIs. Example, in case of sustainability and ESG, there is an agent called supplier sustainability assessment. How do we measure the sustainable thing of your supplier? For example, if you have a vendor, how do you measure the vendor follows all the norms that is required based on ESG? It can trace it back. Carbon footprint calculation, diversity and inclusion analysis can also be done using these agents. So you've got a data layer, you also have agent on top of it, and this provides the information that you need as AI output, which provides a holistic view of enterprise performance in terms of automated data extraction, in terms of aggregation, real-time monitoring, benchmark prediction, impact and risk management, etc., etc. So the whole engine for an enterprise, how it works is, you've got a system to capture the data, maybe using sensors, using IoT, Internet of Things, or industrial Internet of Things, or ERP, whatever. On top of it, we have an agent. It could be extensible or it could be embedded agent. Combination of this will provide you the desired output. It is not that it just comes like a Google. It's not like that. Because in this case of enterprise, we are not using general data. We are using data which is specific to the organization or enterprise. This is how the AI work for an enterprise. Now let's move about how can AI help achieving ESG goals. So there are two things. One is ESG goals, achieving of goals. Second thing is reporting the goals. Let us look at how AI helps in achieving the ESG goals. The first area is smart grids. For example, electricity consumption. We talk about energy saving. The AI tool, which is on top of this smart grid, can basically manage energy demand and integrate. Indeed, we experimented this in one of the place called Chandapur near to Bangalore, where we said, can we have an AI engine on top of the grid, which basically looks at demand and supply and ensure that it manages the demand and supply so that it can provide a lot of saving. Practically application using the grid management, using AI. Again, predictive maintenance. For example, if maintenance has to happen for the equipment that you use in the organization, manufacturing organization, it can tell you where the problem, prediction is better than cure, right? So it basically can help you and save a lot of cost. And demand and side management, AI can analyze data and optimize the data, and it can provide using the engine that we talked about. So that's one of the application of AI, specifically in the area of ESG. The second area is talking about decarbonizing transportation. This is an important thing. Now, for example, we have a system called OTM, Oracle Transportation Management. What it does is, it basically optimizes the transportation routes of vehicles, which routes provide me the optimal energy saving, reduce the carbon footprint. And also it, again, we have to have public transportation trucks, etc. It can really optimize, and it basically provide the information, help you to optimize, not just reporting. Traffic management, we just talked about. I don't have to talk about traffic management. Here's a live example in Bangalore. It basically helps you not only to save the cost, but also to ensure, if you extend the same, it can also help you to reduce the carbon footprint or pollution in Bangalore. Same way, autonomous vehicles still can basically help you to reduce the carbon footprint, decarbonize, and ensure that we are able to achieve the sustainable goals. Now let us look at how we can further explain how exactly AI can help. Material optimization, right? How exactly, for example, we have a product design. Let us say we are making a car. How can AI help you to provide substitutes which can really help optimizing the material? If I'm able to reduce the material or optimize the material which is complying with the ESG standard, we are basically sustaining or ensuring that we are giving something back to our future generation. Again, supply chain optimization, look at complete supply chain, both horizontal and vertical integration, and look at, is there a way that I can look at not only my organization, beyond my organization, or my supplier taking care of all of this. And also it basically can help taking care of predictive maintenance and also taking care of agriculture. Now, in agriculture sector, there are a lot of universities. Again, one of the universities, Tumkur, also tried out saying that, is there a way that I can manage the supply of water to my plants in the agriculture sector and ensure that you only use so much water required, not less or not more, so that you can be more productive in your production, not using some of the inorganic different things, right? So this is something which is also can be done using the AI. Carbon capture and storage, important to capture and storage the technologies that basically help to ensure that, how do we really take care of the carbon dioxide emission and convert into something that we can have some use, right? And finally, how do you assess the financial risk? For example, you are into investment, AI can be, someone said in the morning, saying that the stock markets uses AI more than stock market. The people invest on stock market also use AI for their assessment. So these are all something which you can really help achieving the ESG goals. How can AI help you track? Now, one of the things that basically AI does is, it basically helps you to aggregate the data and standardization. It gathers the data, standardize and report. And that basically will help you how exactly we are complying with ESG requirement. And most important is automatic data extraction. Now, you may talk about, because everything revolves around the data. If my data is not right, the output will also not be right. Now, can we have people putting the data in? It is impossible. What will AI do is, it uses unstructured data as well, using some of the algorithms that we talk about, and it basically gets the right data captured and ensure that this is automatic so that we don't have to invest a lot of time on that. This is one of the way we are able to track the ESG compliance goals, KPIs, using AI. Next thing is real-time monitoring. It basically helps you to monitor, because one of the, not a capacity or capability of human brain is we cannot remember a lot of facts, a lot of data points. If I know so many people today in this room, maybe I can remember only 15, 20 of you. What AI can do is, AI can remember each and every one of you, each and every one's action, and what you have been doing, and it can create a pattern and say what it means. That is a capability AI brings on table, which is different from what human beings can do. And also it can help you to benchmark, how are we among our own collaborators or competitors, how are we in the industry, how are we doing across the nations. So this is how it can really help. Other areas are predictive analytics, impact assessment, and risk identification. Some of these in general we talked about. Now let's move on. Some of the dashboards we talked about. Again, it's using the system. It talks about what is the benchmark in terms of environment, talking about water consumption, we're talking about waste management, we're talking about energy. All of this information coming through a system we don't have to worry about, right? Now let's talk about it a little more. How does cost audit synergizes with ESG, right? Morning we talked about cost audit. In the previous speakers have talked about cost audit. We just touched upon on the ESG. Now how does it really synchronize? The purpose of cost audit is basically assessment of the, objective is to ensure that the cost of production as well as cost of sales includes only those factors which are absolutely necessary, and that those factors are used in the most efficient way, and also verify that cost account records are accurate, and to detect all errors or frauds in the cost records. This is exactly what is done by the cost audit. Whereas what ESG audit does is an assessment of risks of the organization faced towards ESG factors, and can provide a level of assurance over the integrity of company's ESG. Because a company may be doing great job, if this is not taken care, company may not be able to sustain. It is not about how do they do on profits, margin, etc. How do they really do with respect to ESG is critical. Now, if I had to look at combination of this, AI can really integrate reports that combine cost and ESG performance matrix and providing holistic view of enterprise performance. It is not about financial performance or a cost performance. We also look at how are we performing with respect to ESG. And this is the capability AI brings to you on table, right? Now, how does this synergy happen? So we have got ESG in one hand, you have got cost audit in other hand. The synergy happens through integrated data. So why should we have a separate system? For example, EPM we talk about, Oracle EPM, it is talking about not only, let us say, your prediction or forecasting in terms of financial or cost data, it also talks about the performance in terms of the ESG. We have got ESG data also being captured. That's also part of the same system. So when we talk about complete enterprise performance, we not only talk about financial or cost performance, we also talk about using AI, integrated data analysis that help reduce the cost, improve ESG performance, and ensure that improved transparency and accountability are maintained. So this is where we get the synergy between the cost audit and the ESG goals. Now let's move on quickly to the next one. So we talked about how cost audit is working, how we are able to extend the same thing for the ESG, because it's a great area for we as cost and management professionals to go towards. The next thing which is coming is the Industry 5.0. We talked about Industry 4.0 so far, which was working towards mass production, whereas Industry 5.0 works with mass personalization. The reason being why Industry 5.0 is coming is because Industry 4.0 did not focus on ESG. That's the only reason why we are going with Industry 5.0. Now, if you look at what Industry 5.0 focus are, the first one is people centricity. We are not talking about robots. We are talking about the cobots, which means we leverage AI to support us, right? And second thing is sustainability, which is nothing but ESG. So we need to work as to how do we achieve the sustainability goals. And third thing is resilience, being able to change quickly. You cannot change quickly unless you have a tool that supports you. Now, if you look at the focus area of Industry 5.0, one is cost optimization, which will also help reduce the waste and mistakes, which means less money going down the drain. In addition, with tasks being done faster and smoother, business can say goodbye to unnecessary cost. The cost reduction or cost optimization is one of the focus of Industry 5.0. The next thing is ESG with Industry 5.0 is focused basically on efficient way of complying with human and the computers or the systems working hand in hand. A combination of this is basically provides a great opportunity for CMAs. When I combine Industry 5.0, ESG, and cost management using AI, CMAs are in a great place to be in. I mean what I'm saying. This is a great opportunity for all of us. If we expand our scope of work, the knowledge in terms of cost management, ESG, and Industry 5.0, in the era of India's century, we all have great thing to do in our life, is what I strongly believe. Now, to do that, what is required is the basic things are not changing. AI is changing the role of accountant, putting you on a strategic role rather than someone said in the morning, reconciling the bank statement. Because all these things are done by the system itself. It allows us to focus on driving the growth of the business and ensure that we are able to have better outcomes on any projects or anything that we take. To do that, focus has to be towards the leadership, collaboration, and ESG considerations are key. Now, if the system can do the basic work that we talk about, what we should do is beyond, then only we can really add a lot of value to the system. So in summary, which is within my time, ESG is no more an option. It's not optional. Technology disruption and digital transformation is also irreversible. If you think that AI is going to go off, it is not going to go off. It is going to only enhance and add a lot of capabilities. It is a must to have, which is an irreversible process. It can help to achieve synergy between cost management and ESG framework, and convergence of these creates a great opportunity. We as CMAs, and it basically focuses on cost optimization and achieving the ESG goals. So with these, in a very quick way, in my view, CMAs are well placed to embrace upcoming Industry 5.0 through this synergy. AI is there to do, and it's going to really make a huge difference. So with that, I would like to thank you all. I hope it added a lot of information to you. Thank you.